So this summer, we worked with Rachel on a project to optimize internet-based electronic outreach regarding focused ultrasound in order to facilitate broader understanding, engagement, and reach. So the field of focused ultrasound is rapidly developing, and the widespread dissemination of accurate information is essential to progress in this field. The Focused Ultrasound Foundation plays a leading role in the distribution of this information. So the intent of our project was to identify the baseline level of web-based media performance and factors and methods related to engagement to optimize internet consumer behavior. So what is A/B testing? A/B testing is a randomized experimental process that involves two or more variables and determines which version maximizes performance. And typically the A version is the control and the B version is the test. Methods and materials. So data were collected from Darrah, which is a marketing automation system. And we analyzed some historical data from the foundation from May 2020 to May 2021 to develop a better understanding of the baseline performance. We had 4 A/B testing sessions, and these test cells were sent randomly to subscribers to optimize data accuracy. So this is a brief outline of our A/B testing timeline. And so on June 10th and 24th, the control cell followed the typical newsletter order with foundation news, patient news, research news, etc. And the test cell switched the order so that research news was directly after the lead story. On July 8th, we had different lead stories and subject lines, which we'll elaborate more on in a little. And on July 29th, we had different subject lines. This is an example of a control newsletter. So it follows top news, foundation news, patient news, research news, etc. It has bullet points and horizontal pictures. Historical data analysis. So when we were analyzing the historical data, we wanted to compare how the foundation performed to other nonprofits. And the open rate of the foundation when normalized was 18% higher than the 2019 nonprofit average. We also looked at the click-through rate of the foundation compared to the 2019 nonprofit average. And it was 285% higher, which demonstrates significant engagement in the newsletter. So beginning on November 5th of 2020, we began to see a negative relationship between read rate and skim rate, meaning that users were spending less time on the newsletter. And this was also the same date that the foundation used bullet points in its lead story and then switched entirely to the bullet point format in January. So we averaged before bullet points and after bullet points, and you can see that there's a decrease in read rate and an increase in skim and glance to unread rate, meaning that users were spending less time on the newsletter, which could be as a result of the bullet point format. So now on to results. For our first 2 A/B testing sessions, we tested the sequence of categories, and we put research news directly after the lead story. And session 2 reinforces the data from session 1, so we combine these for time purposes. So total clicks and unique clicks, they are different things. So total clicks encompass all of the clicks on a newsletter, whereas unique clicks just is 1 click per person who clicks on the newsletter. So there was a 31% higher total clicks in test cell B as compared to test cell A, and a 24% higher unique clicks when research news was placed directly after the lead story. So research news first led to an overall increased engagement on the newsletter. So then we looked at total click-through rate of the June 24 newsletter, and it led to a 38% higher total click-through rate when research news was placed first. We also saw 4 times as many forwards in test cell B as compared to test cell A, indicating that users were more likely to forward the newsletter when research news was placed first. So for our third A/B testing session, we tested 2 different lead stories and subject lines. So test cell A's first lead story was one on a pancreatic cancer clinical trial. And test cell B's first lead story was on pediatric brain cancer or DRPG clinical trial. So we wanted to see how the different subject lines affected the open rate. And as you can see, there's about a 1% difference in open rate, which isn't very significant. And that sort of showed us that without personalization of different stories and subject lines based on the newsletter's fast demographic, that we're not going to see a huge growth in open rate or a major change in open rate. So personalization is necessary for newsletter growth. So total clicks and unique clicks were very interesting for this session, with there being only a 1-click difference for total clicks and an 8-click difference for unique clicks. So this just further reinforces the idea that personalization is necessary to see dramatic growth and optimization of consumer engagement. So in the fourth A/B testing session, we switched the subject lines, but they were both about the same story. So for test cell A, the subject line was glioblastoma patient, I'm grateful for focus ultrasound trial. This subject line features a direct patient quote and it's more personal. Test cell B subject line was fuss for glioblastoma, potential game changer. This summarizes the lead story using intriguing words, which is typical of a control newsletter. And we just received this data yesterday, so we're still analyzing it, but the subject line with the direct patient quote did win for open rate. So
I got that one.
oh yeah. So you were all being tested this whole time. So yeah. So the electronic dissemination of information is critical for advancing the foundation's mission in the field of focused ultrasound in general. And while the performance is reasonable compared to the 2019 nonprofit average, there is room for improvement. So the Focus Ultrasound newsletter has a very strong performance and study performance, especially compared to peer not-for-profits. Based upon our historical data analysis, the bullet point format does not optimize consumer engagement within the newsletter, so this could be decreased in order to optimize consumer engagement. So based upon our first A/B testing sessions, research news should be placed directly after the lead story to optimize engagement throughout the newsletter. Also, personalization of subject lines is essential for growth, and the foundation should continue to use short subject lines describing the lead story. Long-range plans. So we need to develop a better understanding of the newsletter's vast demographic, and we can do that using Pardot's dynamic list features, which allows you to sort all of the newsletter subscribers into different groups based on their criteria and their recent activity in the newsletter. And this will allow us to increase things like open rate. Finally, we would like to thank Rachel Berry and Professor Paul Ferris for their mentorship and guidance throughout this project. And thank you to the Focus Ultrasound Foundation for letting us analyze your newsletters and for this opportunity.